Hello everyone, Nintendo Gen 64 and Meteor Girl / Jess / Isabel City XX are here, and welcome back to another James Bond review, a review of the Daniel Craig James Bond films. This is the third one in the Daniel Craig series. It is Skyfall. So, Skyfall, let's talk about this one, Jessica.
Yes.
What did you think of Skyfall?
It was the best one out of all three.
Yeah? Okay.
It was good. They got rid of all that editing problems of Quantum of Solace.
Mm-hmm.
I actually enjoyed it way more. I wasn't bored like I was with Casino Royale. And I couldn't pick apart any faults like I could with Quantum of Solace. I thought it was a good movie.
Yeah, okay, well, quick, in case anyone of you haven't seen Skyfall, the plot it goes thusly. James Bond 007 is on a mission at the start of the film to recover a hard drive that contains the real identities of a bunch of undercover Secret Service agents. The hard drive was stolen by a guy called Mr. Silver, who is on a vendetta to get revenge on M for mistreating him when he was an agent under her service. And it's a real sort of vengeance mission with a lot of, I would say, a lot of analogy to the concept of, is James Bond relevant in the 21st century? Is James Bond still a property worth exploring? So what did you kind of think, I guess, of the overall sort of like themes of this film? Because I think in the past Bond films, there haven't been like that many like deep themes. It's kind of just been like James Bond as a guy, who is he, what's his deal? And now this one, they're really making a comment saying, the old ways, are they still relevant? Is James Bond still relevant? You know, what do you think?
That was a lot of words. Okay, I did like, it was like more of his childhood. It seemed more like, it made him a bit more relatable. I did love the villain, and it wasn't like, plot to take over the world. Plot of, this bad thing happened to me, and I don't know, it just seems like with a lot of James Bond, it's like plot to take over the world, evil masterminds, evil like organizations. This was more this guy that was understandably treated so badly that even though what he's doing is wrong, you can understand how he feels that way. I loved like I really loved the scene where he was in the cell and like he removes his teeth and the thing that holds his jaw up because he was like messed up drinking that the chemicals that burned his inside.
The cyanide pill, yeah.
Cyanide pill.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was good. It was, I think it humanized Bond a bit more and did bring up the question, because you wouldn't think that in this day and age you would need Bond with technology and stuff, but then I did love that when they were having that argument, like M was in the building with all these leaders talking about them going, it's not needed, why do we still have this is so old-fashioned, that during that scene then this guy comes in and starts shitting up the place, and it's like, well, no, you need them.
That's it. Well, exactly, and it's like, who's gonna protect you in that moment? You know, who else other than the MI6 guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, like because honestly, I watched this movie again, and I forgot how much I really enjoyed it. Like this, honestly, it ignores a lot of what happened, what they set up in Quantum. Like they don't really mention Quantum or anything like that. They don't go in depth about. They don't follow up on the organization. They tell a deeply personal story with a villain who's got personal connections to M. And this is the first time in the franchise they've done something like that, where the villain isn't after Bond or anything like that. They're actually after one of the secondary characters, M.
Yeah.
And Judi Dench is fantastic. You can't talk about Skyfall without talking about how good she is in this one. Fantastic send-off, really.
Yeah, yeah.
And I guess... in terms of that, they do introduce a few more new secondary characters. We get Q is in this one. We get Moneypenny, and we get Gareth Mallory, who becomes M at the very end of the film, played by Ray Fiennes. What do you think of him?
I did. I liked Ray.
Ray.
Yeah.
Ray Fiennes.
What?
What'd you call him, Ray?
Isn't that his name?
Oh, in the film or in real life?
In real life, his name's Ray, right?
Oh, Rafe.
Rafe?
Rafe Fiennes.
Whoa.
Yes, Voldemort, as you might.
I know he's Voldemort, but I thought his name was Ray.
No, it's spelled Ralph, but it's pronounced Rafe for some reason.
I've never seen his name be spelled. Oh my god. I've just heard it. I thought it was Ray. Okay. Voldemort. We're gonna call him Voldy.
Sure.
Voldy, I thought he was good.
You thought he was the villain
I
at
thought
first.
he was the villain because the radio station I listened to, they do this thing where they discuss, they like say a plot of a movie, and you get callers call in and see what it is. And they did one for people that have started James Bond, and I did for some reason like they did one on Harry Potter for Voldy. I'm not going to say his actual name because I'm going to butcher it, but they did one for him, and I just for some reason was going like they were choosing a lot of villains, so for me I was like, then he's a villain. I just thought because he was in that segment, I instantly thought, okay, well, he's going to be a bad guy in this, but he wasn't.
No, that's right. But you liked him?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, that's the longest I liked him in the history, but yes, very good. And obviously you mentioned Mr. Silver, played by Javier Bardem, was a fantastic addition to the Bond series. And I don't know, have you ever seen, you've probably never seen this, but No Country for Old Men is a film that came out a few years before this, where he plays Anton Chigurh, who's the bad guy in that one. So I guess they obviously saw Javier Bardem in that and was like, yes, we need him for a Bond villain. Very interesting character. I think, honestly, like, if you're making a top 10 Bond villains list, this guy has to be on your list. See, he is just crazy, but justified at the same time. He's got power, he's threatening, but you know that, like, he's not quite fully there. He's, like, all the screws aren't in place. And he's ambiguous on sexuality as well. Like, there's a scene, the famous... what makes you think this is my first time scene when you first get introduced to him. The scene where they introduce him is fantastic too, with the long hallway, and it's talking about how his grandmother had an island and how she had a rat infestation, and the two rats that the rats there all had to like be put in a barrel and they ate each other, and then the rats that got released were cannibalistic and were after other rats. Which was a great little
rats
scene.
Are terrible.
Yeah, that was a spooky scene. Yeah, I honestly, I love that guy. I think he's a great actor. I think he had a really interesting story, and he almost succeeded too. He came so close. If Bond wasn't there at the very end, he would have killed him.
Yeah, but it's kind of poetic. Because at the end, the way he wanted it is that he wanted M to pull the trigger and shoot herself and have the bullet go through her into him. That was his plan.
Yeah.
But Bond stops it, and he dies anyway. But she dies too. It's just not the way he wanted it.
But he died before her.
True.
He never got the satisfaction of seeing her die.
He never got the satisfaction.
Yep.
But he kind of lost and won.
Now, there's a lot of symbolism in this film, because it's called Skyfall, and we're later told that Skyfall is James Bond's his house, the house he grew up in. And this film goes super in depth about Bond's upbringing, his family, his lifestyle, everything like that. He was an orphan, his family died. And something tells me that, his house burning down at the end was very symbolic, I think, of, from what I understood, they were talking that James Bond is still relevant, but he can't be stuck in the past. We have to bring him into the 21st century. We have to modernize him. Which is interesting, because if you think about that, then you're saying that, Bond has an identity crisis. The franchise has an identity crisis. And I definitely think that's true, because Quantum of Solace was just... if you put these two movies, if you, do what we did and watch them back to back, Quantum of Solace doesn't even feel like it's in the same franchise.
Yeah.
It's just a weird, bizarro film. This is, more what you want from a Bond, a Bond film, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think, the commentary was good, the thematic elements. It was the first Bond film to really deconstruct itself in such a way. Did you like the way it sort of handled that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I did. Yes.
Yes, very good. So, any other thoughts on this film?
No, it was really, really good.
Really good.
I really enjoyed it.
So you'd recommend that to anyone?
Yes. I very much did love the when they're doing the fight scene in that building full of glass as well. Was that in Macau?
That was Shanghai.
Shanghai, yes. That was a very beautiful scene. I'm gonna go and say that. That's a beautiful scene where they're fighting in a building full of glass.
There's so many iconic scenes in this. Like, the opening is very iconic with the sort of train sequence. The bit where he jumps off the train and then he adjusts his like cufflink, very Bondian.
Yeah.
There's the scene, like you mentioned, in Macau, which is cool. The guy, like the island where they go to, where this guy like Silver lives on this like broken down island. Just the direction in this film is incredible. Roger Deakins, I don't know if you know him. He's a cinematographer, very famous guy. He did this. He did Blade Runner 2049 as well. I believe he did the Pink Floyd The Wall as well, which is one of my favorite films of all time.
I haven't seen either of those two.
You should watch them. I'll force you. I'll sit you down. I'll force you to watch it.
Yes. You're still promising to watch Never Ending Story with me. So
I'll watch the Never Ending Story if you watch Blade Runner 2049. And like the music was great. Adele's theme of Skyfall. You knew that actually more than the film, didn't you? Before going into this?
Yeah, because I listened to mainstream radio.
Yeah, and that's interesting that Adele's theme, went into mainstream radio and everything like that. But yeah, very much like this is, I guess, resetting Bond after Quantum of Solace. It's just, to me, it's interesting though, because the franchise was like, it started high with Casino Royale, then it dips so low with Quantum of Solace. But then I think it comes back even higher. I'm going to give Skyfall 4.5 stars out of 5. Jessica?
4.5 stars as well.
Whoa, we agree. Oh, that's fantastic. So coming up next will be our review of Spectre. I can't wait for you guys to see that one. I'm very excited for you to watch Spectre. It's going to be, I'm very curious to get your opinions on Spectre. Very, very curious indeed. I have a lot of thoughts on Spectre, and not all of them good. So we'll have to see.
Okay, as I say, are they good or bad?
Not all of them are good. So we'll have to see you next time for our review of Spectre. Until then, farewell for now, but not forever. We'll see you later, guys.
Bye.